Hello and welcome to WNOL Live. I'm Jack Crook, and on today's show we'll be looking at the top news stories affecting us this Friday 13th of September. Now, today's paper headlines: The Sun heads with Nigella took coke every 3 days. This focuses on further evidence emerging from her court trial with husband Charles Saatchi. The Independent leads with the pay rise that dare not speak its shame. The protest to the 11% increase in MP salaries, and the Metro heads with pilfering plod is driving one nuts. This is how the phone hacking trial was told how the Queen supposedly monitors bowls of nuts and crisps to stop people swiping her savoury snacks, and more on that later. Coming up on the show, with I'm a Celebrity finishing for the year, two of our bravest reporters have been to Camden to take part in a Bush Tucker trial. WNOL Investigates has been looking into the importance of a university degree. We look at the Islamic extremism argument taking place within universities around the UK. The WNOL Culture team check out an alternative Christmas show in Hammersmith, and I'll be joined by news and sports editor Matt Hill and celebrity and lifestyle correspondent Georgia Mumby to round up all the top stories in today's papers. But first, students are increasingly questioning the importance of their degree, especially with costs and fees increasing and unemployment rising. However, despite the student concerns, there are graduates still finding success. Music alumni Michael Kiwanuka, Emily the Great and The Feeling all studied music at Westminster University, and we went out to find out more about the department's successes as they celebrate their 20th anniversary.
The University of Westminster pioneered one of the first ever commercial music degree programmes. Although initially there was a lack of confidence the New Age degree be successful, 20 years later the prestigious course is now known the world over. Their long list of successful graduates consists of The Feeling, Michael Kiwanuka, and most recently Dance Out Rudimental, to name a few. WNOL spoke to Alan Fisher, head of the music department, to see why he thinks the course has been so successful and how it's changed over the years.
We started down here in the basement where we are currently. However, we had 2 flight cases which acted as studios and a grand piano, and that was it. That was the entire sum of the course when we started. So we've gone from those 12 students per level, and we're now sitting at about 86 in the commercial music degree. We're about 70 per level in the BMOS programme, which is more performance based. So we've expanded the department exponentially from where we first started with those 2 little flight cases. The philosophy behind the courses hasn't really deviated from when we first started. So the essence is that it's a commercial music degree programme that we have, and by commercial we mean in the broadest sense of the word. You know, we've got we're well equipped in terms of studio space and rehearsal space now, and recently Area 51's just been renovated as a performance space for us, so we're really pleased with that. I think it stands up as being one of the best courses in the UK, certainly, and possibly one of the best in the world in terms of its staff base and the students that we have here with us, and the equipment that the university provide for people.
Each year, due to the university's strong links into the music industry, more and more of their graduates move on to successful careers. WNOL spoke to ex-student Matt Goodison, who signed his first ever record deal whilst at university, who years later is also now back to be a senior lecturer. We want to find out why Matt thinks a degree is useful and also is important for a career in music.
My career path would have been immeasurably different if I had not come to Westminster. For me, it was just an enormous eye-opening experience. It's not good enough just to be able to play the guitar, or it's not good enough to be able to sing. You have to be able to understand the culture of music. You know, why do I like The Prodigy? You know, what is it about this music I actually like? And really understanding when someone likes something, when someone becomes a fan, what happens in their brain? You need a degree to succeed. In music can be in brackets. There are people that succeed in music without a degree, but the chances are they've probably already succeeded before you've even applied for your degree. Yes, Lorde has just had a world #1 without a music degree, but if you actually look at what are the reasons behind her success, well, she was in New Zealand, and it just so happened that a major UK music industry person moved to New Zealand about 4 years ago who was surprisingly looking for a project. You know, do you want to like use that kind of luck in your career, or do you want to go to university, get a degree and actually make it happen, make the change happen for yourself? And that, I think, is the difference.
Now, whilst there are successes from higher education courses, recent statistics from the ONS have shown that there is a recent trend of graduates working in non-graduate jobs. WNOL Investigates poses the question of whether or not degrees are worth having anymore.
More than 2 million people in the UK are enrolled in higher education in the hopes to find a job. Popular opinion says university is an important step towards your career, but not everyone can afford to do it. In a society of increasing competition and financial pressure, is a degree still a stepping stone towards a successful career?
I had a period when I was off for like a month, like looking for a job, and I was trying to get a 9-to-5 job. And basically everywhere I was looking, you need some sort of a degree, and that's actually what made me want to go to uni and study, because I wanted to do something like teaching, and I found it really difficult to kind of get anywhere without having a degree.
I think getting a degree is important, but I do think it's not enough these days, because at the end of the day, it's work experience, I think, is another big criteria that employers look for.
According to the ONS, in April to June 2013, the graduate employment rate stood at 87%, which was higher than that for those educated to A-level standards. Some students feel like university has become more of a business now. It's not just about the teaching, but also about the number of students that can join an institution.
Universities UK published a report last year which showed that the higher education sector generates £59 billion for the UK economy. That's more than the pharmaceutical industry, more than the aircraft industry, more than the advertising industry. And
the economic crisis, companies are cutting back on hiring. This means that when they do hire, competition is fierce. According to statistics from the AGR, there are on average 73 graduates per job vacancy. So much uncertainty brings to question whether university is still worth it. While most people say that a degree is worth it, they say that it is not enough to get a job anymore. Graduates need to be aware of the high competition for jobs, but also know that there is a place for them in the market if they challenge themselves and stand out from the crowd. A university degree is an investment, and it's up to you to make it worth it.
So, two different sides of the university story there, but what do you think? Does a degree still aid you to becoming successful, or are they increasingly becoming redundant? Tweet us at WNOL with your opinion. Now, next up, the University of Westminster was recently involved in a controversy after students invited outspoken members of religious groups to university events. These speakers expressed views which had offended certain groups at Westminster, with some accusing these speakers of intolerance. Universities UK has since issued guidelines regarding external university speakers. However, these guidelines have caused outrage as they appear to support speakers who wish to segregate audiences along gender lines. Elliot Hasty has more on this story.
Who would have thought that in the 21st century, gender apartheid would become the new battleground?
This was the scene on Tuesday night where a protest was held outside of Universities UK's head office. The protest was arguing against a recent document produced by the Universities UK saying that guest lecturers could segregate audiences at universities. The reason being is that they are both being segregated in the same way. Although, as protesters said on the night, same but equal is akin to that of racial apartheid in the past.
It's separate but equal. Isn't that what the racist apartheid regime of South Africa said?
WNOL spoke to one of the protest organisers, Mariam Namazi, about the next steps in her campaign.
I'm really pleased with the protest. I think that it's a good start to an important campaign.
People are watching this and want to get involved. What would you say to them? How can they get involved?
I think people should sign the petition against sex segregation at universities. They should join the sex apartheid busters and join our teams of going to universities and preventing segregation as they attempt to take place. And on March 8, 2014, which will be International Women's Day, they can join us in a rally against sex segregation and apartheid.
For the protesters, though, this is a chance to fight for equality, regardless of gender, at universities throughout the UK.
What do we want? Equality! What do we want?
I'm joined by news and sports editor Matt Hill to run through our choice of stories in today's papers. Now, first up, Matt, today is Friday the 13th of December, not September, as I said earlier. It's an unlucky day for me, being Friday the 13th, but it's lucky for you because you've donned your lucky jumper.
I have indeed. It's International Christmas Jumpers Day today, and there's a nice double-page spread in the Metro, and this story, Jack. It's about Save the Children charity, and what they're looking to do is raise as much money as possible for children. You know.
Well, this campaign is actually to kind of help children caught up between conflicts between Christian and Muslim fighters in the Central African Republic.
It is indeed, and they're looking to raise as much money as they possibly can, about £1 million, that was the aim, and so far 1.6 million people have signed up to the Jumpers Day campaign.
Are you one of those people?
I am one of those people, as you can see, snowman, so I'm helping them out today.
Next up on page 6 of The Sun, they lead with Speak English for Handouts, and this is the story of new immigrants being banned from claiming benefits unless they speak good English. However, the European Commission says that this is against EU rules.
Yep, you're absolutely right there, Jack. Yep, the story is about immigration and how new immigrants will face stronger and tougher tests to come here and get into the country. As you said, it is goes against EU policy, which we have signed up to. It
does kind of feel like the Tories are kind of jumping on the UKIP bandwagon of immigration.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, as you've seen recently in the polls, UKIP have been doing quite well, especially on immigration. So it seems like the Conservatives are jumping on the bandwagon a bit there. Then
in the Independent, we have on page 11 a story that leads with Britons are now spending more on not going out. This is the story that more under 30s are now staying in, with research from the Consumer Index stating that we now prefer to socialise inside the home.
Indeed, Jack. Yeah, figures from the Office for National Statistics show that last year on average we spent £7.80 per week on alcohol in shopping, in shops, in supermarkets, in off licences, compared to the £7.40 that we spent in licensed premises.
That's bound to shot up around Christmas time now.
Exactly, we'll drink anywhere at Christmas, won't we?
Yeah. And then in The Sun, there was a small story on the No Santa vicar row. So it was a row in the little town of Chippenham where the local vicar, Reverend Tatton Brown, told school kids that Santa wasn't real.
Indeed, yeah. Well, sticking with the Christmas theme, the vicar was forced to apologise after numerous complaints from angry parents. Obviously telling primary school children
in a festive assembly, which seems quite anti-Christmas,
that Father Christmas didn't exist. So he has apologised, he has admitted that he was wrong. And, but when did you find out that Father Christmas wasn't real?
I found out Father Christmas wasn't real when I would write letters requesting things from magic powers that I never got to straight hair, which I also never received.
Well, I found out when I was about 10, 11 years old, and I used to leave notes for Father Christmas outside my door that he would sign. I'd ask him to sign them. And then I found out, I sort of compared the signatures and realised that it looked very much like my mum's handwriting. So that ruined it for me. Ruined
well, no,
Christmas.
Obviously Santa Claus is real. If we can't
it is, yeah.
Now, Matt, what are the sports headlines?
Well, we're going to go to The Sun because most of the back pages are leaving with this. If I can find it somewhere around here. If not, I'll tell you anyway. Basically what it is the top of the table clash tomorrow at the Etihad Stadium, and it's between Manchester City and Arsenal. And Manchester City are currently unbeaten in the Premier League at the Etihad Stadium. They've notched up some impressive wins against Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur. So Arsenal go into this game. It promises to be a fantastic game. They lost to Napoli in the Champions League, the Italian side Napoli, on Wednesday night. So they'll be trying to rectify that defeat by and also extend their lead at the top of the Premier League table by beating Manchester City tomorrow lunchtime.
And am I right in thinking that the Ashes has now resumed in Australia?
You are indeed.
So how are England faring in the cricket?
Well, not great, to be honest, Jack. Australia opened the third test in Perth this morning, and they started off, well, England started off quite well. Australia were 143 for 5 at lunch, but in the afternoon sessions, the hosts, they fought back, and a 6th wicket partnership of 124 between Steve Smith and Brad Haddin left Australia 326 for 6 at the end of the first day, and they're in control.
Fingers crossed, England can come back.
Well, hopefully. That's what we're hoping for tomorrow.
But thank you very much, Matt. And now, for fans of pop celeb comebacks, we've had a rather impressive early Christmas present. So here's the surprise on everyone's lips. Yes, Beyoncé has released her new self-titled album along with 17 accompanying videos, all on the same day without any promotional campaign. And now we're joined by celebrity and lifestyle reporter Georgia Mumby. So why has Beyoncé decided, or why can Beyoncé just release an album in this way?
Well, Jack, I think she's at that point in her career where, you know, she can do it. She's a very powerful woman in the entertainment industry at the moment. And she doesn't need the promotion that so many artists need nowadays to get popular, because
we can do it.
Exactly, we can give her that. The press have given her that, public have given her that. It's brilliant. I think she's a very clever lady.
Well, you're a Beyoncé fan.
Yes.
So have you downloaded the album?
Of course I have. I downloaded it this morning when it came out. It has 14 tracks on it. Frank Ocean's on it, Drake's on it, Jay-Z's on it, of course, her husband, and someone else, a little Blue Ivy's on it, their daughter.
See, I heard about this, but how can a 1-year-old baby be on an album? Does she sing?
Well, I wouldn't exactly say she's singing. She's expressing herself vocally. She does say the lyrics a little bit, but it was not exactly a Whitney Houston rendition really, but she sounds really sweet. I think it's lovely, a nice little thing for Beyoncé to do, give a little insight into her personal life, really.
I'll give it a listen. I saw on page 11 of the Metro that everyone's favourite Radio 1 DJ, Fern Cotton, is announced she's getting married.
She is. She announced that to her 4.8 million Twitter followers, basically just saying that finally her and Jesse Wood, Ronnie Wood's son, are getting married. They've got a little son, Rex, together, which is really lovely.
And also, there was something on in The Sun. Referees a bad dad. Apparently, David Beckham has said on the Jonathan Ross show that he made his son Romeo cry after giving him a penalty.
Well, you know, it happens.
But
especially if your dad's David
Beckham.
Beckham.
It's from David Beckham. What do you kind of think about the Beckham children getting so much media coverage recently?
Well, you know, I think they've got probably the most famous, obviously, apart from Jay-Z and Beyonce, they've got the most famous parents ever. So it's expected in their life they're going to get a lot of publicity. But I think Victoria and David are doing a really nice job of what we can see, of like raising them quite grounded. Humbly. Yeah, because doesn't David do the school run?
He does do the school run.
It'll be a nice little morning surprise.
And now, Georgia, are you squirmish?
A little bit.
A little bit. Well, with iCelebrity Get Me Out of Here finishing for the year, our bravest reporters, Oscar and Zoe, went to Gilgamesh in Camden for their very own Bush Tucker trial, and warning, this is not for those with a weak stomach.
Oof.
We're here at Gilgamesh, the critically acclaimed Pan-Asian restaurant. Oscar and I will take on Camden's very own food challenge. And the twist, if you finish it, you get it all for free.
That's absolutely right. Journalists and the paying public have tried the questionable delicacies inside Gilgamesh, but so far, not one of them has succeeded in finishing the platter. Zoe and I are hopeful that we can complete the challenge and make Westminster proud. So we've just got into the Gilgamesh restaurant in Camden, and before we're allowed to try their set menu, we have to sign a disclaimer form, and I'm going to sign it now. Woo! There you go.
Time to sign mine.
2, 1. Really? Well, should we go for one of the fish eyes?
Oh, God.
Oh my God.
Oh, I can't even hold these, I'm shaking. Okay. Oh, what's that? Ah.
Oh! Oh! Oh. Oh, the fisheye wasn't as bad. I preferred the fisheye to the bugs.
So we've just done the first round and it's time to enter round 2.
You got your hat?
Yep, got my hat.
Duck and bull tongue and a pig brain burger. Get down, you. Oh boy. The brain is really not my favourite bit. I don't even know if I can eat it.
Mm-mm. It's not that bad. See? It looks so nice and it's not going to be. I don't know if I can taste vomit. I actually really like it. Going on for one more bit.
Oh, we did it. Oh my god. Maybe this is the vomit bit.
You just go far. What is it?
I don't know.
I don't think you're meant to eat that. I think that's just decoration.
So we've done it. We ate the battered bugs and scorpions.
And we didn't throw up, not even once.
Although we nearly did. Job done.
A big well done to Oscar and Zoe there, although it's not really that unusual compared to the other types of cuisine you get in Camden. But the WNOL culture reporters have also been previewing an alternative Christmas show production of The Little Mermaid at Riverside Studios. Now, they spoke with the director and cast to find out what makes this show so special, and here's what they had to say.
We got the idea from last year. We did a production of Cinderella and it was kind of billed as an anti-panto, so we went back to kind of the Grimm brothers' darker version. And we always knew that the Hans Andersen original Little Mermaid was very, very different to the Disney version and much darker. So our original idea was to just kind of do a straight kind of dark pantomime, again like we did last year. But then when we delved into the research, we found out all these fascinating things about Hans Christian Andersen, primarily that the Little Mermaid story was written as an unrequited love letter to his kind of best friend, Edvard Collin, who's seen in the play.
We've just brought every single part of what made the story alive. We've brought it all together rather than just focusing on the fairy tale part or just focusing on Hans himself. It's that intertwining, good word, of the different stories.
I play a mermaid and then I play a sailor and then I play a sea witch, and the obstacles for the mermaid's sister was the skirt. It was really hard to just walk around in this nice skirt and kind of walk on stage, and yeah, I think that was the biggest obstacle.
So what did you think of the show?
I thought it was excellent. I thought it was well acted, beautifully lit and well written.
Well, I think it was very different to the usual like Little Mermaid story I've seen or like watched on TV when I was younger, so it was like nice to see a different outtake for once.
And if you could sum up the show in 3 words, what would they be?
Oh dear. Great, really great.
That's not very easy, is it? I think it was emotional. It was varied, lots of light and shade, that's too many words, so it's emotional, varied and riveting.
So people should come and see it because it is a complete retelling and a complete uncovering of an original story behind such a famous, celebrated fairy tale.
And finally, have you ever fancied a career in football broadcasting? ITV football commentator Clive Tildesley recently gave a talk to students at the University of Westminster, and our sports editor Matt Hill went along and asked the man himself for his top tips for anyone wanting to bag a job in sports broadcasting.
The number one piece of advice is be yourself. Yeah, listen, read, discuss, analyse, consume media in a different way from anybody else. Consume it critically, consume it inquiringly, ask yourself questions about how it could have been better, who it's reached, who it hasn't reached. But ultimately, if you want to be a broadcaster, it's very important to bring something of your own personality.
Now that's all we have time for on WNOL Live. However, please head over to WNOL.info where we find out who was the best Christmas pudding of 2013. And please remember to tweet us at WNOL to let us know of your opinions to any of today's stories. I've been Jack Crook and thanks for watching.